whether we can be able to replicate or to scale such a program to the national level or to all districts of the country. And it was seen to require a very, very big, a huge budget. And there was also a slow institutionalization as a challenge to implementation based on community informal volunteers, as I say. This is why when we decided, together with some of our partners, when we decided to scale it up, we had to address these identified challenges, which was why the program now that we are scaling up, we are implementing it in one district. We are scaling it up in one district, implementing it in close collaboration with the Ministry of Health through its Rwanda Biomedical Center, RBC, and the technical support from Promoto. And it is also implemented in collaboration with the grassroots community, but formal volunteers that we call community health workers. So we changed the kind of delivery system. The delivery system at national level, we have a technical support team composed of one RAMREG, the Ministry of Health, and the RBC, the Rwanda Biomedical Center. And at the district level, we have the district that is also working as an oversighter, like the Ministry of Health. And with the district, we are mainly working with the unit, the health unit of the district and the hospital. And under the hospital, we are working with health center, and within the health center, we are working with the community health center supervisor. And in the community, we are working with community health workers. We are actually working with the newly selected community health worker, the fourth community health worker, because actually we have 4 of them now. And those are the ones now facilitating the groups of education that who are taking the groups of education members through the Bandebereho, the curriculum that we are using.
Silas?
In the collaboration with the government.
Silas? Can you hear me? Would you be able to conclude?
I can hear you.
Would you be able to conclude in 3 more minutes?
Yes, I will be done in 3 minutes.
Thank you. Then there will be time for.
So yes. So the collaboration with the government, as I said, we work with the ministry, the district, the hospital, the health center, and they have even contributed to approving and reviewing the material or the curriculum we will be using. And we followed different steps like sitting with them and discussing about we are going to run a program and how we will also sit regularly on quarterly basis to review or to evaluate the progress of activities. I would also share that we have some learnings out of this program. And the first thing is that when you envisage to impact on the behaviors of men and the whole household transforming masculinities can give you multiple outcomes, even those ones you were not expecting. And working with existing structures or governmental institutions can really contribute to institutionalizing your intervention and having it keeping impacting on your communities even after the phase out of the program or the project. And finally, yes, we still have some challenges like entering our program indicators into government indicators, but as we have been experiencing challenges and success together, we are quite sure that everything. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Silas. This is really, really inspiring to see with strong, rigorous evidence that change is possible in men, and not only in men, in family relationships, in power relationships, in reduction of violence against children and against women, in equal sharing. I mean, all the impact that you describe and explain to us, it's very inspiring. Thank you so much for the work that you guys have been doing there in Rwanda. And I'm sure participants will have some follow-up specific interrogation questions about that experience. And we can do is it okay, so we can, I think, pass on to the experience in Madagascar, and then I would recommend people to keep their question, to make a note of their questions. You can also put it on the chat and we'll track them, or keep it on your notebook, wherever you can keep it, so that after the second presentation we have an open discussions. I would ask if everybody can mute their microphones. And now over to colleagues in Madagascar about their experience, the intervention they are planning to share. I'm going to make them co-host to share their screen. So, Aro Mahefa, Aro, you're starting the. So now over to Aro, and now you are co-host so that you can share your screen.
Thank you. Bonjour. D'abord, nous on va parler en français, donc j'espère que la traduction est opérationnelle. Est-ce que vous m'entendez?
Yes, we can hear you in English. I can hear you in English. Thanks to the interpreter.
D'accord, ok. Donc, bonjour à tous qui regardent, à tous qui écoutent. C'est un honneur et un plaisir pour nous d'être ici aujourd'hui. Je suis Armaef de Empowerment Madagascar, une association qui promeut la masculinité positive, et je préside également le comité de pilotage du réseau MNCH Madagascar. Alors, en ce moment, le MNCH Madagascar est composé de 25 organisations membres, et depuis 2019, nous partageons un projet en commun qui est la lutte contre le mariage précoce dans 3 zones de Madagascar. Pourquoi nous avons choisi ce thème d'intervention? Eh bien, tout simplement parce que c'est un fléau qui porte préjudice à l'enfant et qui l'affectera toute sa vie. Et pourtant, selon les statistiques de l'UNICEF, à Madagascar, 48% des jeunes filles sont mariées avant leur 18e anniversaire. Et 12% d'entre elles ont moins de 15 ans. Donc, en effet, le mariage précoce est le dénominateur commun de plusieurs problèmes, car forcer un enfant à se marier, c'est déjà une forme de violence. Forcer une enfant à se marier, c'est bafouer tous ses droits en tant qu'enfant, en tant qu'humain, car l'enfant ne pourra plus aller jouer, aller à l'école ou avoir des rêves et des objectifs. Donc, puis, il y a non plus aucune considération de son orientation sexuelle et ses droits sexuels et reproductifs seront complètement bafoués par son mari. Et bien d'autres encore. Donc, pourquoi ce genre de pratique existe encore à Madagascar actuellement? Eh bien, tout simplement parce qu'on a des traditions, des normes sociales qui sont acceptées, qui sont appliquées et qui sont perpétuées par certaines communautés malgaches ici. Donc, nous, ce qu'on veut faire à MNCH Madagascar, c'est de briser ce cycle en informant et en conscientisant les jeunes, les parents, les leaders traditionnels et les autorités locales. Et voilà pour la petite introduction. Pour ma part, maintenant, on va vous diffuser un mini-reportage dans lequel une femme malgache va nous partager comment elle a vécu son mariage, qui est un mariage précoce. Et je vais laisser la parole à mes collègues pour la diffusion de la vidéo. Merci.
Thank you, Harold.
Hello, everyone. Hello, everyone. I'm going to share to play the video. If you can allow me to share my screen so that I can play the video. Thank you.
Yes. Is it Soa, right?
It's Sarik. Sarik.
No, Sariaka.
Sariak, okay. Just give me one moment. Now you can, Sariaka. I made you co-host.
Can you see my screen?
Yes, we can.
In this video, there are subtitles in French, so maybe the interpreter can translate the subtitle in French into English. Thank you.
Thank you, Sariaka, for showing us the video. Would be okay to allow you for 6 more minutes to conclude so that we can have an open discussion?
Yes, Yitsu, c'est Sou, l'actuel coordinateur du réseau MNCH Madagascar. Nous avons aujourd'hui exposé le sujet du mariage précoce. À ce que nous avons vu, à ce que nous avons pu voir, plusieurs facteurs favorisent sa pérennité. L'évidence, la différence entre le sexe masculin et féminin. Dans ces régions, loin des grandes villes et des changements, loin du mouvement et de la quête perpétuelle d'évolution, les rôles conférés aux hommes et aux femmes sont bien distincts. L'homme est chargé de trouver, de subvenir aux besoins de la famille en termes de biens matériels, tandis que la femme, elle, doit veiller propre. En d'autres termes, les rôles et les fonctions semblent se compléter, mais une disqualification sociale due au sexe les divise. Dès le plus jeune âge, la société impose aux enfants une place, un rang dans ce lieu où ils devront grandir et perpétuer à leur tour cette tradition. Ce concept transmis de génération tend donc à offrir une éducation qui différencie les hommes et les femmes, en démontrant la responsabilité de l'homme en tant que pourvoyeur de fonds et de la femme en tant que dispensatrice de soins. Pour y parvenir et pour atteindre cet objectif, les enfants, garçons et filles, doivent être conscients dès leur plus jeune âge de leurs différences et de leur importance dans la société dans laquelle ils vivent actuellement. Dans ces réflexions, nous concluons certaines cultures préjudiciables et que dans l'ordre social est bouleversé. Dans ces cultures préjudiciables, nous pouvons remarquer le mariage précoce, le mariage forcé, les grossesses précoces, ainsi que certains rituels. Malheureusement, l'application de ces coutumes par nos ancêtres pousse les enfants à s'y conformer et à perpétuer certaines pratiques. Ces coutumes existent pour démontrer les rôles et les fonctions de chaque individu dans cette société. On cherche à initier les enfants à ces rôles afin de les intégrer dans la société. Le sujet que nous traitons porte sur le mariage précoce. Et à ce sujet, à Madagascar, les jeunes filles sont obligées d'avoir des relations sexuelles dès qu'elles présentent l'apparition du cycle menstruel. Cette contrainte les oblige donc à se marier, car à Madagascar, les parents pensent qu'il est mieux d'être marié avant tout acte sexuel ou mieux d'être marié dès que l'enfant est enceinte. Voilà, pour ma part, je cède la parole à mes collègues de Madagascar s'ils ont un point de vue sur d'autres aspects.
Thank you,
Merci.
Soa.
Ok, Osvaldo. We have a second video. Can we share it to conclude our session?
A second video, you said?
Yeah, a short
Okay.
one, not a long one.
Okay.
Okay, Sariaka will share it.
From whose computer to give that person the...
Sariaka.
Okay. Thank you, Sariaka, Soa, and colleagues from Madagascar for this presentation, for this video, and this experience about your work on preventing child marriage. That was very powerful to see and to hear the testimonies of these girls and their families. Do you have some concluding remarks? We need to move on to the discussion, but if you have one minute, if you can use 1 minute for concluding your presentation.
Okay, I will do the 1 minute conclusion. Yeah, the situation is not that good. So that's why we are working hard in the subject of child marriage. The work we
Sariaka,
have done yet
can you turn on your video?
Oh, okay. The situation is bad, as I said, and a problem is not solved yet. So we have a lot to do in terms of preventing child marriage, and we are working with traditional leaders. We are working with parents, especially with parents. We are talking about responsibility. We are talking about accountability as a parent. So yeah, it's very hard to fight against tradition and culture, but we think that if we work hard with men and boys, as men is the one who has the power in traditional norms. So we need to work with them so that they turn this power into a positive power to help girls and women to live a peaceful and a life where their rights are respected. Thank you.
Thank you, Sariaka. What an important work, and how challenging must be, as you mentioned, to counter deep-rooted cultural practices and norms. In many ways, that's what we are dealing with in so many places, to challenge, to go counter culture, especially cultural practices that are harmful to people, in this case to women and girls. Now we can open the creative space for participants to raise your reflections, your questions for the presenters. You can also write your thoughts in the chat and have a conversation. I mean, I know one of the questions that we have in the chat is about the presentation, if people can have access to the presentations. So, and that was for colleagues in Rwanda, for Harold. Is that something that we can make available?
Yes, Oswaldo, I've already shared it with you and with one of the participants who requested for it.
Fantastic. Thank you for that. And there is a question also. There is a question here in the chat for Silas. Do you think working with government is useful to have an impact? Would you like to refer to that?
Can you come again?
Yes, the question for you here is, do you think
Can you come again, Oswaldo?
Yes, yes. Can you hear me now? Can you hear me?
Yes.
So the question is, Do you think
I can hear you.
Do you think working with government is useful to have an impact? That's a question for you and the experience that you presented.
Okay. Can I go ahead and respond right now?
Please.
Thank you. It's not only thinking, because it is our own experience. Maybe it may depend on individual government, or maybe or country to country. But in Rwanda, as you are all aware, I think our government has promoted great initiatives in promoting gender equality and preventing gender-based violence. And we do have, I would say, policies and laws that are really supporting gender equality promotion and GBV prevention. And as NGOs, we conceive projects that just last for a limited period of time. And I think we have been requested or challenged about the sustainability of what we do. I think how we do things, we do our business with NGOs, I think we are quite good. But ability has been a problem because most of us depend on project. So our experience here in Rwanda, empowering government structures has been one of the strategies to address the issue. Yes. Yes, I was going to the question right now, because one of the strategies, so it has been very good to work with the government, because, while you influence the government, while in order to have policies that respond to people's need or citizens' need, I think that's the best strategies. For us, working with the government has been very, very useful, and has the sustainability of interventions, because governments have been able to scale up even some of the interventions from civil society, while they showed they revealed to be very important to changing the lives of the people. Yeah. Thank you.
Excellent. And I have to admit some kind of envy to hear about the possibility of working with your government on these important cultural changes, because as someone coming from a country in which the government is anti civil society and trying to curtail and diminish the participation of civil society, it's really encouraging to hear that in other places, in other countries, that is something that those kind of partnerships are possible. Now we pass on to Andrew, who has a question for, I don't know who of the speakers, the presenters. Please, Andrew, come in and unmute yourself.
Thank you very much. My name is Andrew Spama. I'm originally from South Africa. I'm now based in the United Kingdom, where I'm working as a child protection practitioner. My background is social work. My interest is in child protection within the religious settings, where we're researching how to develop a framework to protect children within the religious settings. I must appreciate the good work done by our colleagues both in Madagascar and Rwanda. It is the first time I'm attending such conferences, and I have really found that it is useful, and it made me to appreciate some of the work that we are doing in South Africa, and also the exposure of the international world. And also, I want to say well done to Rwanda, because obviously working with the government, especially on the children postnatal care of the children, really is a wonderful initiative that one would like to see being multiplied even in countries like South Africa. And also exposure to the Madagascar presentation has also helped me to appreciate the development that are there in my country and what is happening. Growing up from a single mother, and what she has done to make sure that I get the best out of life, something that I will always appreciate because of what has been presented here. That is just my comment. This is a good work. Let's continue to change, not the whole community that we can change, but that one person, that one young girl that we can give a better future. It will help our nations and also Africa as a whole. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Andrew, for that appreciation. I echo your sentiments of appreciation for the work of our colleagues in both Madagascar and Rwanda. They are very inspiring. And also this work with government is a different level. It's at national level, but also at the community level, at the local government level, which is also very important. Who wants to continue of the audience participants? Please don't be shy and express your opinions. If you have any particular interest, comment, question for the presenters, please let's take the opportunity to do so. We still have 20 more minutes for this session. So who would like to continue participating? If not, if you are not ready, I can pose a question for our colleagues in Madagascar. And my question is about the specific, if you can share more about the specific positions of men and voice regarding child marriage. From the interviews that the video interviews that we saw, it seems that it's a kind of general cultural tendency. It's more rooted in the rural areas. My question here is, what about men in particular, men and voice? Are there some who actively oppose child marriage? Are there different positions? And are they speaking up to some of them speaking up, challenging these practices?
Yes. Some men accept that girls at early age get married, and some men are against that fact. It's also about poverty, I think. As parents do not have enough money to pay for study, to pay for food, clothes, etc. for their children. If a rich man come and ask their daughter, they accept it because they do not have the means to keep children at school, etc. That's one thing. But that's why we are talking a lot with parents, because we are sensitizing them to be conscious that the first responsibility as parents is to ensure all the needs of the children and to make sure that the children have the best future they could have. And but because of very extreme poverty, it's this main responsibility of parents is just ignored. And some men think that women and girls are objects, so they are like sex objects, so they can do everything they want with women and girls when it is about sex. But I think it's also a question about power, and that's why the theme power weave that we rise a lot in this global symposium is very important for us, because it is also a question of power. Men want to show their power. Men want to be the one who has the last word. So they just do anything that they want to do when it is about sex with women and girls. It is different when we talk about religion, for example, because some religion are against forced marriage, early marriage, but this situation happens in general in a community where traditional and social norms are very centered in the power of men and boys. Yeah.
Thank you, Sariaka, for that additional
Je
explanation.
souhaiterais également rajouter quelques remarques par rapport à ce que Sarik a dit tout à l'heure. Il est important aussi de mettre un point sur le fait que dans le mariage précoce, quand on parle de garçons, les garçons qui s'engagent dans le mariage précoce ne sont pas forcément mineurs, donc il est à préciser que dans la plupart des cas, ce sont les jeunes filles qui s'engagent lorsqu'elles ont moins de 18 ans, mais les garçons sont déjà dans leur majorité. Donc, c'est aussi culturel et il faut voir l'aspect, vraiment, il y a beaucoup d'aspects culturels qui fait que le mariage précoce est encore très présent et dominant dans la culture malgache. Donc, c'est tout ce que je voulais rajouter par rapport à ces remarques que Sarika a apportées tout à l'heure.
Thank you. Thank you. And it's important to hear that not all men support these harmful practices, that some of them stand up against. And I think that's part of the work that we all do as MNCH and the MNCH network in Madagascar to bring those men together, and also women who are committed to change this reality, this harmful reality for women and girls. Other colleagues, other participants, attendees in this session who would like to come forward and express your reactions, your opinion, or your questions on the presentation that we heard from Rwanda and Madagascar. Who would like to take the space? Don't be shy. This is a safe space, or safer space. How did the experiences of our colleagues make you feel? In the meantime, I can bring another question. Mudashiwa, do you want to say something? I saw you unmute your microphone. Mudashiwa.
Yes, I want to share something.
Go ahead, please.
Thank you for the coordination of the meeting. I wanted to thank Sariaka for the positive thought about what is happening in Madagascar. Also to thank Mr. Silas about the finding of activity they are doing in Rwanda. Actually, what I see in both countries, Rwanda and Madagascar, I think one country can learn from each other. We have positive attitude from Rwanda, where originally back in history in Rwanda culture, some men, not all, used to consider women as a sex object when you look at the root of the culture. As well, it is happening in Madagascar. I think it will be great to exchange the positive attitude from both countries so that Madagascar MNCH team can come and learn from Rwanda Men Resource Center success stories, how men are becoming advocates for the equality and also positive masculinity. This will help in Madagascar also to teach and also to influence other men to become also positive men engaged in the area of gender and equality. Thank you.
That is a great proposal, a great invitation. And we hope that the Global Symposium facilitates this connection, these exchanges, this partnership among countries, between countries. And there are sessions, there are some specific sessions geared toward these exchanges on, as you know, on Wednesdays, yesterday and every Wednesday from now until June, although not all weeks, there will be space for regional exchanges and to find ways to collaborate, to support each other when we need to learn from each other. Even though we have some specific dynamics in our countries, there are things that resemble. For instance, I am from Nicaragua, Central America, and I'm listening about, even though child marriage doesn't have that particular shape in our country, in my country in particular. However, the sexual objectification of girls, the patriarchalism, and that seeing girls and women as object is still there, and many girls at very young age goes to older men, including for factors of poverty, as mentioned by Sariaka. So I think we need to exchange and to see how we can benefit from each other experiences and lessons learned. Thank you, Mudashiwa, for that proposal. Other who would like to join. Also, you can use the chat. If you don't want to take the floor and speak up, you can also write your comments or question in the chat.
Let me just also say that, you know, from my understanding, and culture is very hard to crack, and according to what the people of Madagascar are facing, is more of culture. But what I've observed in South Africa is that with the movement of many men into the
Can you turn on your video, Andrew?
Oh, okay, thank you. Yes, what I'll say is that what I've seen is that over the years, as men were moving from the villages to the cities, many young men were raised by their mothers. And that has helped, because many of the young men like myself, I could see the plight of my mother. being 3 boys from different fathers, that changed my attitude to say that I don't want to grow up, or I don't want my children to grow up without my involvement. So a movement that encouraged men in Madagascar to be involved in their children could also be a good thing, because it is good that these projects are owned by men. And I think it's also supported to what is happening in Rwanda, where you saw that when men are involved, especially in the early days of their children's lives, they tend to care, and also they tend to take more responsibility in providing for their children. So let's target those that are coming from those situations so that they can participate in the program. But I admit that culture is not easy to break, but nothing is unbreakable. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Andrew. And
May
those,
I have a say on that too? Can I get into?
please come in.
Yeah, because I think it's true that changing social norms or culture may take long.
Can
But
you turn on
again,
your video? Could you turn on your video?
depends. Yeah, I agree with some other colleagues that changing the culture or social norms may take long. But again, it depends on strategies that people are using. From experience here in Rwanda, yes, you can design a project that is just aiming at behavior change at individual level. But again, and the community, the surrounding community, but again, if it's not supported by the government, if it is not supported by the policies and laws, I think it becomes hard, because if maybe child marriage is not punished in a given country, so it would be difficult for an NGO that is addressing issues to do with child marriage to be successful, while the government is doing nothing to put in place like laws and some guiding policies that are supporting those interventions at the grassroots level. So I do believe it is, yes, it is hard, but it can work. So the good strategy would do for all of us to engage people at different levels. Yes, individual behavior change is good, but also it has to be supported by what's happening in that community. And daily practices create habits, and the habits can also lead to a change of the social norms. So different levels are of paramount importance to have a long run or a sustainable change.
Excellent. Excellent, Silas. Thank you so much. I think this is one of the key takeaways from me that came from the plenary session on Tuesday on working with men and boys, on men and masculinities. The need to have this holistic approach, addressing all the levels of reality, from the more intimate space, the personal, interpersonal, to the community, to the structural and national and even international levels. So thank you, Silas, for that. And we can see that from the model that you have of intervention, you are trying to address and take into account all these different elements of action, of transformation needed. So you still have, for those who haven't raised any question or comment, there are still 2 more minutes. You still have a time to bring your ideas, to share your ideas in this session. So anyone who hasn't spoken, or Sariaka, I see you turn on your video. You want to add on something?
Yeah, I just want to thank colleagues from Rwanda for all those comments, and it will be with great pleasure for us to work together with you, so that we can exchange experience, so that we can learn from your success, to end this problem about child marriage here in Madagascar. So thank you very much for your help. We are going to keep in touch and to work together on this practices exchange. Thank you.
Fantastic. This is a great outcome also from this session, to get to know each other, to recognize that we are on the same boat and that we need support from our colleagues. And this is what MNCH is all about united we can be stronger, united we can challenge these systems, these historic rooted systems and cultural trends and policies that are really harmful and reinforcing patriarchy and inequality. But together with our commitment to act together, we can make changes, and changes are possible, one day at a time. So I just want to finalize. Thank you, all of you. Thank you, first of all, to the presenters for the work that you are doing, for your willingness to share with a larger audience. Thank you for the colleagues who show up for this session, all the participants. Thank you to our interpreters for facilitating communication across, cultures, languages. Thank you all.